Steven Spielberg.
Welcome back, motherfucker! Oh shit, that's well loud. Look, one of my my left input A, as it's more affectionately known, was ridiculously high. I've not done this in a long time. I just realised that I just pressed record without sorting out any of my settings. Ha, that's good. It's 2020. It's 2020, mate. Do you know what I mean? That means it's time to live our lives again. I can't produce podcasts and I can't DJ very well. Right, what's going on, man? My name is Riggs. This is the Alkaline podcast. I am back in the fucking house, man. I've been away. I had Christmas. I don't know if you did that. I thought I'd take some time off, have a bit of Christmas, celebrate when the calendar changes from 2019, 2020. A little thing that I like to call New Year's Eve. Don't know if you did that. I went to a pantomime, which was good because I was betrothed with children. I don't know what that means. Does that mean that I'm married to children? Betrothed. When you betrothed with someone. What I'm trying to say is that I was with my kids in situ with them. They were there next to me, out of wedlock, if you will. It's an interesting start. For a whole week, man, I just dropped them off yesterday on a train. And then I got a coach home over the overnight coach. And I was coming into Brighton and I was thinking... You get this, like, sometimes can be a bit sad when you, like, say goodbyes, like you're on a ship, when you're waving like a thing, and you're like, oh, it's very sad, waving them off and that, and but it's kind of like, I've gotten quite used to it now a little bit, because I've, like, my kids are like 11 and 10 years old, so, we've become stoic. It's our northern side. They're southerners, but have lived most of their existence in the north, so they're kind of honorary northerners, whereas I'm not allowed in the south, and also no longer a fundamental northerner. So I'm sort of been ejected like young Simba from The Lion King. Everyone was like, leave, and never come back. But I did go back sometimes. I do go back. I'm being dramatic, is what I'm being. It's They don't mind. In fact, most of them don't even know who I am, which is, it's 2020. Let's fucking rectify that shit, man. Anyway, I was coming into Brighton, and that's when the sort of sadness hit me. And sometimes it's nice to cultivate the sadness. Do you know what I mean? Some sadness is good to feel, I think. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't just go around, just singing happy songs to yourselves and never accepting that some things are sad. And there's a reason why you feel sad about some stuff, and I think it's good to cultivate it. So when I feel a certain kind of sort of creeping, sort of slow, a slow burn sadness, you know what I mean? It's kind of warm, innit? It's kind of like, all right. You're like, I don't feel bad about this sadness because this is inevitable collateral sadness. Do you know what I'm saying? So why not, like, put on a little bit of music, man, and a bit of fucking cheesy, sad music and that. One thing I normally go for is Slow Dive's 2017 album. It's very creatively called Slow Dive. And it's probably the greatest comeback album of any generation. I know that some people think that Slow Dive sounds like garden centre music with kind of chanting over the... I'm aware of that, mate. You don't have to fucking come fucking talking about that. I'm aware of it, mate. I just really enjoy it. And my stepmom did work in a garden centre in Northern Ireland, and sometimes if I was ill from school or for some reason had to go to not school but work day, bring your son to work day, she worked in a garden centre, so I spent a lot of my time listening to sort of panpipe renditions of Christa Berg songs and like Wales, the Wales musical output. Do you know what I mean? Which is mostly just low drones. So I just didn't have much chance. It was going to be like shoegaze and slow things, But anyway, I thought I was getting dropped off at Preston Circle, which is just like one of the earlier Brighton stops. It's interesting. It's locational comedy. I don't know why I said comedy things. I'm just telling you what happened. So we're going in, and then I had planned it, right? So the track number 2 is called Star Roving, right? And it's like an instrumental, proper, like cheeseball, proper commercial shoegaze fucking instrumental fucking thing. All right, fucking hell. And I was like, when I get off, it's going to be like the perfect bit of that song, like the bridge of that song. I'll pick up my bag. It'll be like a film. Do you know what I mean? Because we've got this inbuilt comfortable sadness, and that we've been cultivating since arriving in Brighton for like the last 10 minutes or whatever. And but the guy just carried on driving straight on, right? And then track 3 came in, which is called "Don't Know Why," and it's kind of more of a filler sort of track. But it does have quite a soaring chorus. So I was looking out the window, cultivating the sadness and that little tear. That's perfect for sadness cultivating. Not like a full cry, but just like when someone's doing acting, and then you see and then you see like a little tear. It's a single tear, and it sort of goes at right angles first, not right. It goes like sort of horizontal first, and then just sort of takes a right angle down the cheek. Just one of those, and that's quite nice when you're trying to cultivate that warm, back home sadness. And I was looking at the sky, and it was really cloudy, right? And then as soon as it hit the chorus, I swear to God, right? And I think Slowdive must have arranged this for me, because they know that I'm their number one fan. The clouds started apart, right? And then there was like this beam of sunlight, and there was like a round planet in the sky. But the light wasn't coming from it. And I was like, oh my God, the sun and the moon are in the same place. That is unbelievable. And then it comes as this soaring chorus fucking... I'll see if I fucking got... I'll try to put the fucking tune on. Alright, hang on. Alright, almost accidentally played Nora fucking Jones to you there. Sorry. Right, this song. This bit. So the clouds just started to part at that point in the song. Do you know what I mean? It was absolutely glorious. The sun and the moon were hanging out together. I had no idea. Like normally you get like a letter through your door when there's going to be an eclipse, don't you? I remember when I was like quite young, we went to the Millennium eclipse. Do you remember that one? We had a day off school. Do you know what I mean? Like the sun and the moon are gonna hang out. And like fucking hell, like, we all went down and we made like tubes, not getting blind tubes. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't remember exactly how to make them, but I think what you make is kind of like Joey and Apollo 13, where they're trying to be like, we've got to put this round thing into this square thing. We had to basically. That's how I view all crafts, because I'm not very visually artistic. Do you know what I mean? Fucking, I look like a project, but when it comes to my own hands, do you know what I mean? I can't create anything, but like so I approach all art like it's at Apollo 13. Do you know what I mean? They're like, fucking stick that envelope down so we can post that letter, and I'm like, I don't know. Just can't figure anything out. I've got to fucking end up with stamps on my forehead and shit. But anyway, I just remember that. I remember it being a big event, but I didn't hear about this event. Do you know what I mean? Maybe people have just got bored. Do you know what I mean? After social media and all that, and like fucking Donald Trump, I don't fucking care, but he fucking apparently tweeted a threat of war to Iraq. They assassinated some fucking dude. Don't do that, mate. All the fucking wars start like that, and you just, you know what I mean? Like I thought they were like peacekeeping in the Middle East. My dad's a gun dad, and he always used to talk about how they were peacekeeping in the Middle East, and he went there a couple of times, and they were peacekeeping in the Middle East. You know what I mean? Fucking all being gun dads and like just trying to get back to their gun family. Do you know what I mean? They don't want to fucking shoot anyone. Is the Americans fucking assassinating a dude? I don't know who he was. Maybe he was a bad guy. Maybe he wasn't. But I think what happened is the Iraqis fucking shot loads of shit near one of their bases. They were like, well, fucking kill those two guys. Any excuse for a fucking light killing. And then the fucking Trump's been tweeting about, he was like, I'm on the bog. Just tweeting away. It's that, if you do anything about what we killed your fucking guys, we will fight back. And use like, and he kind of implied that there would be like, and like too much. We're going to attack you too much. I can't remember what exact word he used, but it was a bit like, we will go above and beyond what we need to do. Just why do that? Just do what you need to do, Trump. Do you know what I mean? It's like he hasn't built. You don't build up like a thing like, oh, we got extra missiles now. Do you know what I mean? Just fucking calm down, everyone. But maybe that's why they don't post about the eclipse anymore. I don't think it wasn't an eclipse, but it was like during like Star Wars where you see like a couple of planets at the same time. It's like that. It's quite exciting. But anyway, it's just really crackly. I don't know. This is the first one back. I don't really know what I'm doing. But anyway, that was kind of like you get like a perfect bit of sadness because like I was kind of dreading coming back to the house because it's been full of children for like a week. Sometimes it can be like the Mary Celeste when you come home. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know that boat that's like everything's like eerily quiet and everything's still set up for like having a crew of people on board, but like dinner's not on the table. Do you know what I mean? It's still warm and that. But there's just no one there, and it's in the middle of the sea. Sometimes it can be a bit like that when you come back. It's like a bit too quiet. Do you know, like when they say like ghosts and that leave. Like when people do a murder in a house, so sometimes the energy gets like sucked into the walls, and that's what some people think that like loud banging at night, and that is, and so do I, because this is more fun to believe in shit in it. But like, it's a bit like that, isn't it? Like they're just. Like I was walking around town because we basically skated the whole of town. My son got a skateboard from Route 1, like his first like real skateboard. All the other skateboards we've had before have been from like toy shops or like Argos, where it's like this skateboard won't get you anywhere. Do you know what I mean? It's just got the most worst bearings in it and all that sort of stuff. Like, but we went to a proper skate shop and then he got his first skateboard and a little fucking piss pot helmet and that. Sydney's got some fucking rollerblades and that. And we basically skated the whole town. So as I was walking home, I saw him was like, we're like, oh, we did walk past this just a couple of days ago, this bit. And I was like, you know what I mean? Like, see-through children were skating past me and that. It's very sad, but also, you know, it's just, you know, what are we fucking doing? Do you know what I mean? It's 2020. Kick this fucking shit in the teeth, mate. Like, I'm doing the sober time thing again. I went a bit off piste towards the end of last year. I kind of stopped talking about drinking so much on this because I sort of was failing at doing it quite dramatically. But like, and I always do this when I'm poor. It's so much easier to not buy stuff when you're poor. But currently quite poor. So like, now I'm like, oh fucking hell! So I've got the app again. Do you remember the app? So we can all quit together. If you quit drinking again on the 2nd of January at 10 p.m. at night, we can quit together. Me and you both are on 4 days, 17 hours, 7 minutes, mate, on the fucking button. Do you know what I mean? So it's quite good. That's like that's a working week almost. Do you know what I mean? I haven't drank once at work. In my imaginary work this week. It's pretty decent, mate. Let's just see how it goes. As I said, quite poor, so I'm probably going to get at least the week mark. No, I'm trying this time, though. It's 2020. It's the whole point of we fucking started doing this podcast in the first place. Do you know what I mean? It's people relying on me out there. You know what I mean? I get upwards of sometimes 22 listens. And 2 of them people could be fucking, I need this guy to live so that I can live. Sometimes I listen back to this podcast for like, but I said something all right that I could maybe use in stand-up comedy, like a bit a couple of episodes ago. So I listened to one of them. I'm probably contributing to my own views, so it's probably less. It's probably less than that. I don't really know how it works. But we're doing it again. 2020 is the year that we're going to fucking find out some fucking things about ourselves. Do you know what I mean? Like I got a few little mental tics and that going on. Like I always thought I was like OCD. I've never been to the doctors about it. I've only ever been to the doctors about physical ailments. Do you know what I mean? Like my arms come up, that sort of thing. Just like things that you can see, or like I got this fucking ear infection currently. Like, I have this recurring ear infection. I think I spoke about it before because this happens all the time. But I got a perforated eardrum. I've had it for years, and I basically have to take these antibiotics every time I get water in my ear. I guess it gets trapped in my inner ear, which is like where your eardrum is, and it sort of builds. It just basically you just leave, and then it starts to fucking stagnate or whatever. Gross. And it fucking just stays in there and starts fucking. You get fucking. It's just a bit gross, mate. Is what I'm trying to say. But sometimes I'll get it for a couple of days and it will just go away. So I'm thinking like maybe it's just a tiny bit of moisture that I got in my ear, like some fucking mist or whatever. And I think this one was because it was fucking torrential rain at the start of December where I live in Brighton, and it was like we were fucking swimming about outside on the streets and that. And I've got fucking only one pair of like fucking mesh trainers, man. So I had a fucking terrible time. But I think I got some water on the inside of my headphones and I put them in my ear. And I think that's where I got the fucking infection from. I will always listen to music, mate. You know what I mean? Even if we're under the water. Even if we're doing a fucking water world. Yeah, so I kind of cleared up. So it's before Christmas, like just before I was going away. And like, I had to work in that as a chef. And then I had a couple of days. One day, and I phoned up the doctors like, "Can I come in and get some antibiotics?" And that. And they were like, "No, we don't take it. We're not taking any appointments, but you can do a phone appointment on Tuesday. The Christmas Eve was a Tuesday." And I was like, "Oh shit, I'm kind of gonna be in the fucking up in the middle of nowhere up north in the fucking Dales and that." It was like, "It's fine. We'll phone you, and then we'll just do like the thing across the phone, and I'll just send a prescription to your local fucking chemist." And I was like, "I didn't even know you could do that," but I missed all those fucking calls anyway. And then I picked up the fucking kids on the 27th, day after Boxing Day and that. And we was driving. Where were we driving? Oh, yeah. So we came back. We went to the fucking... And it was kind of gone. Like, it was still sort of there. Still sort of... I could feel my ear was, like, blocked. But it wasn't, like, fucking leaking any shit out or nothing. And, like, I was like, oh, it might just go away, this. Right? And then we're fucking driving to Canterbury to watch the Panto on New Year's Eve. Right, and I'm like an annoying. I had an annoying dad growing up. I don't know about you guys, but I had like a dad joke dad. Do you know what I mean? Like, or like always taking over. But I'm like that as well. You know what I mean? You just want to. I think it's like a dominance thing. Because dad jokes are always in response to something, aren't they? Like your dad never just comes in and is like, "Hey," do you know what I mean? I thought of this joke. They're always like in reference to something you've said. It's like they've got to get the last word in, or they've got just like it's like kind of a bit like it's caving on you. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe I'm reading a bit too much into it, but dad jokes seem like it's kind of like a dominance thing for your dad, and I'm like that a bit, man. Like I'll add in some things. And then when they do like kid stuff, like he watches like Fortnite on YouTube and shit, and I'll have a fucking few boomer moments, mate, when I'm like, I don't even understand what these kids are doing. And afterwards I just feel immediately like a knob. Like, just get on board with it. Like, I think it's better to be like a boomer sort of dad than it is to be like just constantly on board. Like, say, like Baby Shark came out, and you're like, what fucking hell? This is a tune, isn't it? You got a little fucking Baby Shark hat on and that. Imagine being a dad who's just well into everything, just got a sideways hat on, he's playing Minecraft and that. And you fucking be embarrassing. It'd be like you worked on CBeebies, you know what I mean? Always in a good mood, like lives on Balamory and that. That's fun, man. I'm not one of those dads. Like, I'll have a laugh, mate. I like building Lego. I like fucking playing a bit of football and that. Skating about and stuff. It's fun. As they got on older, not so much into the imagination games. When they were younger, the kid, they had much more sort of basic imaginations and that. Now there's like No, there's like different levels. Do you know what I mean? It's like an unpaid acting job, and I don't know what's ever to do with my arms. Do you know what I mean? That's why I can't act. I'd have to act always as a double amputee if I was ever going to be a serious actor. But what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I'm a sort of like yeah, so I'm like sort of a dad jokey kind of dad, right? Anyway, we're sat in the fucking back of the car on the way in Canterbury on the way to the pantomime, right? And I gave my son 3 consecutive wet willies, right? Which, if you're listening from somewhere else, that isn't like a fucking thing that should put me on a register. Do you know what I mean? That is when you stick your finger in your mouth. It's already gross, mate. And then you fucking shove your finger deep. It's gotta be deep, mate. Deep into your fucking mate's ear. When he's not looking, and it feels fucking disgusting. It's got a wet willy where we're from. Not to be confused with the damp penis. It's called the wet willy, and anyway, I did it to him, and then I don't know why, because I did it to him in my fucking in the corresponding ear to where I've got my infection, like a fucking knob, and I fucking deserve everything that happened to me, but like. 15 minutes later, I was fucking talking to thighs in the car, and all of a sudden, this fucking tiny finger just gets shoved in my ear. And I was like, no, my ear, that's my fucking bad ear. Couldn't get annoyed at him though, because I was like, that's fucking fair enough, and like, well played. And in fact, your single wet willy like fucked me up for over a week now. Because my fucking ear infection came roaring back after that, mate. It just needs a little bit. Just needs a little bit of fucking moisture. It was like a fucking catalyst, man. My fucking side it's been like a volcano. And I fucking need to go to the doctors again. But fair play, I couldn't get mad at him. My initial thought was like, shit, that's my infected side, man. And it's fucking, you can tell in there it's a bit fucking bruised and that. It's weird how infections are just, they fucking can like, it's like you've been bashed in the earlobes, but like, I don't know why, because it's just like kind of like a liquid, but it's like, I mean, maybe it's because I keep shoving stuff in my ear, like tissues and that, to fucking trying to ease the fucking pain. Took some cocodamol, but living off that for a little bit, man. But yeah, I don't know. No, I've never been to the doctors for like a sort of more like a fucking mind thing before. So I thought, because it's 2020, I thought I'd do a fucking couple of little tests and that. A little fucking New Year's resolution tests. And like, I always thought, I don't really know what any of these things are. Like, that's why I don't really talk. I just fucking have a feeling that I've got some things like, I've got a feeling that I've got kind of like, I must have some sort of OCD, and I must have some sort of depression, and I must get some kind of anxiety, but maybe everyone gets anxiety. I don't know the difference between my anxieties and everyone else's anxieties, you know what I mean? But like, I don't really know what they are. And I wouldn't want to be like, if anyone actually has them really bad, and I just think it's something else, and I'm going around being like, I think I've got that. And they're like, you don't know what you fucking, I don't want to make light of anyone else's situation. Do you know what I mean? But I love for the OCD thing. I don't really even know the definition of it, but like I fucking love like a list and that, and I just set alarms and things, and the order of things just makes me really like calm inside. And ever since I was like a kid. And like I was a dice man for a bit. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was about 10 or 11 or whatever for a couple of weeks, I wouldn't make any decisions about rolling a fucking dice first. I think I spoke about that in a different episode. But if you're fucking brand new, you're right, mate. I'm pretty fucked in the mind. Is what we're talking about. But like, so I've got these fucking alarms, and I'm like, whenever I get a task, my brain immediately creates like one of them sort of flow diagrams of how to complete it. And I think that's why I ended up working as a chef, and I think that's why I like the process of stand-up comedy. And I get very obsessed by things. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was growing up, I was like when I was like little, between like 5 and like not 5, but between like about 7 and about fucking 10. I was like, well, I was a Games Workshop nerd. I couldn't afford any of the bits because my dad like refused to let me have them because they're so expensive. They are expensive as fuck. I don't know what it's like now. But they're fucking, when I was a kid, they was well expensive, mate. And like my parents were kind of refused. So I got like hand-me-downs off my big old nerd brother, which was fine. But like I proper immersed myself in the backstory, and I just fucking learned the backstory like fuck, and I just knew about everything to do with it. It's kind of like my boy now. He doesn't have like the latest Xbox or PlayStation, so he's obsessed by Fortnite, but just doesn't have it. So he'll watch like fucking. He knows everything about it and always talks about it, but he plays it around his mate's house. You know what I mean? I was a bit like that when it came to that. But then when I was like a bit older, I got kind of obsessed with music, specifically like the band Slipknot. Got really into them when I was about 13. And just knew everything, like the whole history and that. And then it was like Pink Floyd. I just have. I don't test me on it, but like at one point I did have like kind of like an encyclopedic sort of knowledge of their whole history. As an MC, a comedian like in town called Martin Warren, and he just fucking knows everything about Bowie. Like he can like know that he knows the exact date of like single releases and that, and like just the reception of them, and like as if he's just reading the fucking numbers and that. Do you know what I mean to you? But he just knows them in his head. I used to be a bit like that with Pink Floyd. In fact, I called my fucking first kid Sydney after Sid Barrett. Do you know what I mean? And she's a girl, but I think that makes it cooler. Anyway, now I'm fucking upset, and I was obsessed with being in a band for fucking ages, and then now I'm obsessed with doing fucking stand up. I wonder what the next thing's gonna be. Some kind of like fucking gonna go and live in the woods and become a fucking compulsive whittler or something like that. Could be fucking anything. Do you know what I mean? Like it's gonna get fucking hard into chess or something like that. But I've never been tested, so I thought I'd do one. I'd do a test, right, and then we'll fucking find out what's going on because I could just be a fucking dickhead. That's one of the things, man. So we have a little fucking let's get a little fucking theme together. Hang on 1 second. Because like you don't ever want to make people feel bad. Like you don't want to take the piss out of someone's fucking thing if they've got a thing and you think you got it and it turns out the actual thing's much more severe. There's this gig in Brighton called Lava Elastic. And it's a neurodiverse comedy night, which I think I might be wrong, but it feels like that's like a newer term. Like it's a term, it's like a sort of kind of feels like a buzzword sort of term. But I don't know how long people have been using that term for, but I didn't really know it. And I was supposed to do this Lava Elastic gig, but I'm not diagnosed with any sort of neurodiversity. But it was like, it's fine. I was like, okay. And then the guy, there's a local comedian who dresses like Arthur Camel and sometimes an aubergine. Right? It's called Ben Carter. He was supposed to MC it, but then he, for some reason, couldn't MC it. So he decided just to do a spot. And suddenly put me forward to the MC, right? Which is fair enough. It was like, because it's fine to MC, right? If it was normal night, whatever. Like, it was in the Duke of Wellington, which is a fucking tiny little box room right upstairs. And there was only like fucking 5 people in the audience. And they've all come there because it's a neurodiverse sort of mixed bill. Because it was like there was a poet on, and there was like sort of like she's like a kind of there was a few musical comedians on. Anyway, the second half was all musical comedy. But like I'm MCing and I'm like, and I thought I just may as well just be honest. Like I'd be like, I don't really know what neurodiversity is, and then I realized after I said that that's not really the stance that these 5 people who all have their own individual diversities, neuro style diversities, they all want to go to a thing that's for them. They don't want the person who's supposed to be in charge of the whole thing getting up and immediately saying he doesn't know what it is. But I didn't know the term, so I guess it's kind of self-explanatory. Like it just means people are diverse in the mind, doesn't it? Look at that guy over there. He's fucking diverse in the mind, that guy. But I was talking to someone in the fucking the minimal gathering, and she was said I was like, "What's your neurodiversity?" It's just a fucking weird thing for me to be doing. And I feel like I was put on the spot, like in hindsight, but we fucking soldier on, don't we? He said she had OCD. And I was like, fuck, because you're supposed to, as an MC, make a joke. And I'm kind of like roasty a bit with the audience and that. And I was just like, oh, is that like when you have to do things a certain amount of time? And she said, no. She said, was like, no, that's a common misconception. And I was like, fuck. Sorry. I don't know. I just don't know anything about it. So I could be fucking wrong, about it. So it's good to fucking find out, I suppose. Let's look up the definition of it. Obsessive compulsive disorder. I thought for a bit I caught it off one of my ex-girlfriends. She started this girl who had pretty serious like OCD, she told me. And she did used to do things like in a certain amount of times and that or whatever. But then she was also a bit dramatic. It's like one of those college girlfriends where everything's a bit dramatic. Do you know what I mean? Like there's never a fucking dull day. Goth behind the fucking eyes and that. I don't know if you've had a girlfriend like that where every fucking day's like you don't know what's gonna happen. Do you know what I mean? It was like it was when emo was big and everyone was fucking well into bipolar disorder and that. Which is fine. I mean, like some people fine, but then there was. I'm not saying that the person I was with was like this way because she was pretty fucking dark, but there was definitely people in our group who were like, you don't. Are you? Do you know what I mean? You don't seem that seems like you're just getting on board, like just getting involved, which is fine. I can relate to that, but that is a general thing. Obsessive compulsive disorder is a mental disorder in which a person feels the need to perform certain routines repeatedly, compulsions, or has certain thoughts repeatedly, called obsessions. The person is unable to control either the thoughts or activities for more than a short period of time. So you either have repeated thoughts, obsessions, repeated thoughts, compulsions. I do have these, I do get obsessive thoughts, man. You think about something, you think kind of dark things sometimes when you're walking about. Like you'll, sometimes, you ever seen someone who's really happy in the street and then you've immediately thought about all the things like you could possibly do to make that person cry. Like it was like a kid in a pram with an ice cream. You're like, fucking could just knock that ice cream out of that kid's hand. Not like nick it for myself, but just like, doop. I'd never do it. But and I just assumed that everyone thought that about children. I would never do it. But I think that's, I've been told that that's kind of an OCD thing as well. And I do think that all the time, like, in most situations, I'll be like, just assess, what's all the fucked up things you could do in this situation. Maybe that's a stand-up comedy thing. Right, but here we are then. Right, obsessive compulsive disorder brought to you by psycom.net. Not psynet.com, but psycom.net. Right, so check it out for yourselves, man. Do I have OCD? Use this quiz to help determine if you might need to consult a medical health professional for diagnosis and treatment. Is that what we got to do? We got to do this quiz. Depending on what it says, we've got to book ourselves into the old fucking beaked plague doctor. Do you know what I mean? With his incense down the end of his nose so he doesn't catch our OCD. Do you ever experience repetitive thoughts that cause you anxiety? Repetitive thoughts that cause me anxiety. Yeah, but what? I worry about things. Do you know what I mean? A lot. Like money and that. And that's... I'm going to put often. I feel often. Do you ever experience repetitive thoughts that cause you anxiety? I think it's quite a vague question. I don't know, because sometimes I feel repetitive thoughts, but they're kind of relevant to what I should be thinking about. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you need to focus on that, because that is a dangerous aspect of your lifestyle, that sort of thing. Think about that kind of lot. But then there is other more creeping things that are a bit more innocuous, I guess, that I think about all the time. I'm going to put often. All right. Do you ever fear germs or engage in excessive cleaning? Now, this is an OCD thing that you always see on programs and that. But But I can't. But I always feel like hoarders. Hoarders are a bit OCD as well, aren't they? Like they have to. They're obsessed with hoarding shit, but they're not fucking clean. So I think when I was emceeing that neurodiverse comedy night, I think I said that as well. I think I said like, "Oh, you're always cleaning up your house," that sort of thing. And she was like, "I think you're being very insensitive," and I was like, "I'm sorry. I'm trying my fucking best over here." But I've got just a pair of fucking raggedy ass trainers, man. I've got like a couple, like 2 pairs of trousers, you know what I mean? Like, and fucking about 1 million t-shirts. But like, basically, I look a bit fucking bedraggled and that. And I've got in my house, I've got a bath, mate. And the water pressure in our fucking house is ridiculous. We've got a tap shower, you know, when you plug it into the tap. But you can only have it like a fucking shin height for it to stay warm. Any higher than that, it just pumps out cold fucking water. Plus our boiler fucking takes about an hour to fucking heat up and then lasts for about fucking 10 minutes. Do you know what I mean? It's not an ideal situation. So like, cleaning's a bit of a bitch in our house. It's like nice when I go and visit someone who's got a fucking power shower. Even if I just come around your house for a cup of tea and I find out you've got a power shower, mate, I'm fucking power showering around your gaff, mate. But I fucking never invited that guy around. Just said have a biscuit and he's fucking naked in a room in my house. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it is the designated naked room. For me, that's the downstairs cupboard. Just sitting there for a bit, cross-legged like a naked Buddhist Harry Potter. But mate, I'm gonna put. Do I fear germs or engage in excessive cleaning? When I'm working as a chef, man, I do hate touching raw meat, but I feel like that's a standard thing. Who likes fucking having their arms into the carcasses of fucking dead animals? Apart from if you're like fucking Jeffrey Dahmer or whatever. And I don't know if he did that. And strike that off the record if he turns out to be a stand-up guy. I'm gonna put never. I'd never engage in excessive cleaning. Do you experience the need to constantly check on something or arrange things? Yeah, I'm like one of them people where you leave your house, you'll spend like the first 15 minutes wondering whether or not you locked your front door and that. I always thought it was like a short-term memory thing. But like, I never get worried about leaving like the oven on or anything like that. But it's just the door. I sometimes think about that. And then when you arrange stuff, like I do like check, I check over what people have said, like the timings and that, and then invariably turn up a little bit late by accident. But I like to set alarms, like so before I leave the house, I always set an alarm 15 minutes before I have to leave, so that I get all my shit together and then I leave. I Google map everything, even if I know the direction. But I got my little Nigerian friend who tells me the directions, which is fun, man. And so I'm going to put often on that one. We've got 2 oftens and a never when it comes to being clean. Do you ever experience intrusive thoughts that are aggressive or about taboo subjects? I think so. But this is another thing. I do all the time. You think all sorts of fucking stupid, like, just horrible shit. And, like, you don't really talk to anyone about it because, like, what if no one else thinks like that? And you're like, do you ever think that? They're like, no. No, we don't. You need to be in a fucking prison or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've spoken to a couple of people, sometimes comedians, man, because, like, people who do stand-up comedy tend to have explored this aspect of their fucking mind, you know, to talk about. And sometimes on stage, people will be like, do you ever think about that? And then people in the crowd laugh. I'm like, fuck, maybe, like, people do. Maybe everyone's a bit fucking fucked up. So I never thought much of it because I just assumed that everyone was a bit fucking messed up like this. But intrusive thoughts, like, quite, like, and it's difficult to fucking talk about, like, this bit because it's hard to talk about stuff in a way that makes it sound like you get thoughts of, like, sort of self-sabotage and that, like, physically and mentally, I suppose. But you don't always act on them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, which is hard to say out loud because people will be like, fuck, like, do you know what I mean? Like, he's, like, thinking about that sort of thing, but I'm not necessarily thinking about it. My brain just is automatically being like, well, that's the new thought, and then it just fucks off again. Do you know what I mean? So it's not even, I don't see it as a problem. I see it as it's happening. Do you know, like, if you don't choose what adverts you watch on TV, they just come on. It's a bit like that, I feel. Like you'll be thinking about the thing you want to think. There's an advert break for a couple of little intrusive thoughts and that they fucking come in like fucking flash and that. Do you know what I mean? Like slip bang and all that, and then you're back into your actual normal thoughts again. Do you know what I mean? Like, but you never buy anything from the adverts. Do you know what I mean? Unless you're like in a shop and you subconsciously be like, oh, I recognize that particular brand of fucking crisp bread. Like Ryvita, and I buy that because I've seen it in an advert. Do you know what I mean? So when I'm down a particular avenue of mental health, I'm like, oh, I might actually do that thing because it's been constantly in the back of my head for fucking ages. But like, I'm gonna put often for that. Do you experience intrusive thoughts? Do you struggle to control obsessive thoughts or compulsive behaviors? Obsessive thoughts about like stuff that I'm like kind of having a physical addiction to, like drinking and smoking and that. I can't really control that. I don't have much problem controlling obsessive thoughts because, like, as I say, like I think about these things, like, you know, how can I make this stranger sort of cry? But I'd never like act on it. I feel like it feels a bit like someone else is thinking it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so like, I don't have a difficulty acting like to controlling that. Compulsive behavior, like as I say, I've got this fucking big old list of like alarms in my phone for like fucking what time to wake up, what time to go to bed, what time to have lunch, what time to get ready, what time to smoke. Because I'm doing this thing where every week I'm adding half an hour onto like the time between cigarettes. At the moment I'm on to 4.5 hours. It's working out okay. Last night, due to sadness, I had a couple extra, and then this morning, due to like cultivated, slow dive, informed moon and sun together sadness, I had a couple more then as well. But you know, I'm trying not to. I'm going back on I've got my first stand-up comedy spot again tonight, and that's normally where the smoking happens. So we'll see how that fucking pans out. But so it's harder to control compulsive behavior. So I'm going to put sometimes. It's a shame that those two things are together, them two things, because I find it easy to control obsessive thoughts, but not easy to control obsessive behavior. Do you engage in rituals that provide temporary relief to anxiety, such as counting, checking, or cleaning? I have, as I say, I've got this strict sort of list of like tasks on my phone. I've got my to-do list on there, but it's like everyone's got a to-do list, but mine's got things like brush your teeth and that on it. And because I've set these alarms for like when to have lunch and that, like you don't have lunch within a 5-hour period, so I set an alarm for that. It's good because of the smoking alarm and the lunch alarm and the getting ready alarm and the bedtime alarm. It sort of breaks your day up into blocks. And you're like, oh, this is this block. And then you've normally got a little bit of a block between the cigarette and the next bit of food. And it's like nice to break your day down. And sometimes when you're like trying to like procrastinate, just pass the time, it's good to have your day in little blocks like that. Like when you used to run, people used to say focus on something like nearer to you that you can run past, as opposed to like the finish line or whatever. And then if you break it down into little bits, it makes it a bit easier. And if that is a ritual that provides temporary relief for my anxiety, then fair enough. But I've never really thought of it in those terms before. So it's kind of checking or cleaning. So I guess. See, I want these questions to be. I guess this is why you would go and talk to a medical professional, because I want to say that to the multiple choice list. But now we've got never, rarely, sometimes, often, or very often. So if that is a ritual, then I do that all the time. So I know, yeah, fucking hell. I was gonna put very often because like I do, because I work as a chef. Like it feels I like set timers, like, even when I don't need to. I've got loads of like multiple times, but it's not because I've been a chef for nearly 10 years. That I can do it. But I just like the order and togetherness of just being like, buzzer there, check this, do that, check that, put your fucking ambient. I've got a thing called an ambient timer on my phone, like, so you press it, buzzer, goes off every 5 minutes, fucking check everything, it's fucking beaut. And then everything comes out and it's all fucking great and the same, that as always, which is fucking cool, man. And yeah, really cool, man. And then so I'm gonna put very often for that because it does kind of control my whole day. Do you spend at least 1 hour a day thinking obsessive thoughts or performing these ritual behaviors? Yeah, very often. Okay, because it's kind of all the time. Are work life, home life, or relationships affected by your obsessive thinking or ritual behaviors? Yeah. I've had girlfriends before where I'd be like, you try because your brain automatically tries to order stuff, to make order, like to put. So like, say you were like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Say you wanted to learn like a language with me, like so we're gonna learn German together. You would like my brain would immediately be like, my brain would immediately try and fit it into the order of the day. Like be like, oh, I'll do this for this certain amount of time after doing this and before doing that, and it would make a system for how to do that. Just immediately, every single task, my brain just automatically does it. It doesn't necessarily mean I'll do it like that, but my brain just naturally sticks it in a little thing. And I can remember I've had girlfriends sometimes, and sometimes like your brain will try and organize your feelings towards your partner, which is odd. I don't think I've ever spoken about this before, or really like trying to conceptualize it in my own mind. But you know what I mean, like but like obviously when you're like going out with someone, it's supposed to be like raw and like sort of passionate and that in it, as opposed to like regimented and fucking like systematic and that. But because that is how my fucking brain works, you try and define like emotional feelings as practical tasks. Is that a real thing? Is that what I'm talking about? But I've noticed there's been times where my brain has automatically done that. Like, I'll be like, oh, I'll kiss my girlfriends each time I come into a room. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. And then you're like, why am I thinking about that? That's not a way to live your life. And I don't really do it. But my brain's like, that's what you should do. And like, what if I had to keep getting up and going out? That would fucking look mental. But I mean that sort of thing, you just start trying to fucking, it's bizarre, that, isn't it? But I've never really spoken about that. That's quite an interesting thing. So I guess that often they are. I think that my relationships are affected by my obsessive thinking or ritual behaviors, but I don't think that they know that. Be interesting to ask Thies about this, actually, because I don't know that they know that our relationship is affected by it. It's just I know because it's in my head, and even though I'm not necessarily doing it, I guess in some way I'm affected by the things I think about. And I wonder if then that in tune, like that sort of subconsciously does affect it. So she doesn't know anything about it, but she is then being affected by it. I'm gonna have to put very often. Okay, I've answered very often to almost all these questions, apart from, do you ever fear germs and that? So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be pretty. All right, let's have a look here. Optional. Enter your email below. Right, we'll fucking do that. We'll get spammed by this fucking mental health website. I acknowledge that Remedy Health will use my information to provide e-newsletters and marketing. I understand I can withdraw permission for this at any time by clicking the unsubscribe link in the footer of the email. It's basically I'm agreeing to spam. It's annoying, isn't it? By clicking the unsubscribe link in the footer of any email I receive from Remedy Health. My friend tried to buy me a cameo, which is of the Grinch. I never received it. It was like a free cameo. I never received it. But I did then just start getting like 100 emails a day from Cameo. I saw the receipt for the thing because it got sent to my email, so I read what was going to be said, and it's quite fun. But now I'm being spammed to fuck by Cameo. I don't want to. I decided I don't want the newsletter. I just can't be arsed getting this fucking third party fucking shit. Anyway, see the results. Whoa. Moderate indication of OCD. Oh, that's okay. Your answers suggest a moderate indication that you have symptoms common among people with OCD. However, this quiz is no substitute for a proper diagnosis from a healthcare professional. We would encourage you to schedule an appointment with your doctor or other mental health professional now. At 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm scoring a 7 out of 10. Moderate. Green is like none, and red is like all. Then I am like the top of the yellows, bottom of the oranges, mate. There you go. So we did the diagnosis. Not necessarily sure if we're going to go to the doctors about that. We've got a moderate indication of OCD. I'm not even sure if that's helped me out in any way. But man, there you go. That's fun, isn't it? You should do one of those too. Then we should fucking 2020 is the year of fucking getting on board with fucking being healthy, both in the body and in the mind. I want to get back to that bit where everyone just treats you like a pregnant lady. When you stop drinking, you get to about 2 months, and everyone starts being like, "You've got a lovely glow about you." Do you know what I mean? You got like, you just look so much better. And because I'd only ever seen my own face in the mirror, like I just would be like, everyone's being ridiculous. I think they're just saying it because they want me to be better. Do you know what I mean? But like, but no one says it to me now, and I went off the fucking rails a bit. But now we're back on it, mate. We're almost at 5 days, as I said before. Right. Let's fucking do a couple of plugs. I just need you in the face. I'm sorry about that, mate. We've only just met and I need you in the face. Right, let's get back on this anyway. It's 2020. We're fucking stand-up comedians again. Do you know what I mean? I got my first spot tonight, new material. Got a joke about fucking Tipperary, which I wrote on the fucking coach last night. Right, let's fucking go. Right, so we got so the ones I want to promote, I've got basically new material shit. I'm in London on the 15th in Limehouse. Over in Worthing on the 30th at Seafront Comedy. If you're from fucking Worthing, come and have a look at that. 30th, check me fucking socials, I'll post up where that is, but it's on the 30th in Worthing. Hollywood Comedy Club, which is in a working man's club near Birmingham. That's not Hollywood, mate! That's on the fucking 24th, going on a little road trip with some new lads. We got on this Wednesday, the 8th, and every fucking second Wednesday of the month, my brand new open mic, fucking natural born killers, mate. Some of us are illers and some of us are fucking natural born killers, mate. I'm fucking hosting it. Names out of a bucket. Got fucking like quite a few comics sign up for the fucking first one. Names out of a bucket. It's gonna be fucking class. As long as everyone gets on fucking board, mate, it's gonna be class. Do you know what I mean? I get a chance to fucking rinse my playlist in front of everyone. Then we fucking got, I don't know. It's gonna be fun. That's this Wednesday. I've got a fucking. It's gonna be great. It's at the Verdict Comedy. It's at the Verdict, fucking Jazz Cafe, the fucking Verdict, across the road from the job centre in Brighton on Edward Street. It's fucking free entry, man. Just come down, hang out. That one's gonna be a fucking laugh. And then the 16th is the actual Verdict Comedy Club, which we've got Pope fucking Lonergan, Harry Pugh, Sophie Spittal. I get a fucking full lineup up here. That's like £3. That's like the proper one, and it's hosted by James McDonald. We've got fucking Nathaniel on the fucking piano, mate. It's kind of a little fucking thing. Oh, we've got Ben Carter opening, Izzy Asquith, who's someone that I did 2 North Down competition with. It's kind of quite dark a bit, and like quite really understated comedian, but she was fucking really funny. So I've got her down. We've got Frank Islin, who's the Swiss comedian, and then my boy Sam Williams, who's from the fucking University Comedy Society, and he's really funny, man. Started wearing big hoop earrings, and I can respect that on a fucking man. Do you know what I mean? Pirate style. And then headline, we've got Pope Lonergan. He's a guy I've seen a couple of times. He tells like quite dark stories, but he's so like he dresses in like trackies and that, and he always sits down on stage and be like Marin. But like he tells these really dark stories. Like people fucking die in these stories. You know what I mean? Like he's like, because he's like an ex-drug addict. He works in like he works in care and that. But he's like I think he's like pretty serious drug, like heroin and stuff like that. But he's got stories where people he's been like getting high with have died and stuff like that. But and he talks about that on stage. But he's so like fucking like sort of charming and sort of disarming and that like it doesn't seem that dark. Sometimes people like I've tried it before when I've talked about subjects like death and that on stage, and because like I'm not as good as a comedian as him, like I find it hard to everyone's a bit fucking didn't come out to fucking discuss death and that, but he does it in a really sort of offhand, like just sort of a welcoming sort of way. That you like it's intriguing. You want to hear where it's going, and you sort of. And the darkness of it doesn't come into it, but like it's just good. It's fucking really good. Anyway, I saw him on the Edge a couple of Brighton Fringes ago, or this Brighton Fringe, for the first time, and then I've done a couple of fucking secret comedy clubs with him, and like it's just fucking really, really good. Always fucking smashes, mate. But it's like my sort of fucking thing, man. It's like storytelling and that, and it's good. It's going to be fucking inspirational for me, and you fucking come down. It's on the 16th, third Thursday of the month in the Verdict again, opposite the fucking job centre. On Edward Street in Brighton. It's £3 to get in. There's a fucking ticket link. Check fucking Facebook, mate. We've got adverts up this time. We've got fucking posters made. It's going to be fucking class. 2020 year is the fucking year of the Verdict Comedy Club, man. We've got 2 new fucking gigs going at the fucking same time. It's going to be class. So fucking come along to some of it. Do you know what I mean? I've got other things working as well. I've still got my Dumb Debate Society podcast that I do with comedian Jen Ives. We've only got 2 episodes out. We're going to call them the pilots, mate. The pilot fucking episodes. But we should hopefully be fucking coming back with that proper in the fucking new year, mate. Gonna get back on that. Gonna try and work less as a chef and get more on this fucking what we're doing here. Because I am poor, and I'm even though when I work, I'm still poor, a little bit less poor. But a little bit of debt to a farmer. But aren't we all? Do you know what I mean? It's scary being in debt to a farmer, because I've seen Making a Murderer, mate. Do you know what I mean? The farmers can dispose of a man. They really can. But but yeah, man. So fucking come along to fucking come along to the fucking Verdict. That's what I really want this year. I want the fucking Verdict to be fucking class. I'm gonna do loads of my own fucking stand up and that, but then I'll do that anyway. Do you know what I mean? I did fucking 179 spots last year. I worked it out as. I want to do even fucking more this, and then I have summer off, and I have basically the Christmas fucking time off. 2 weeks off at Christmas and about a whole month off in the summer usually, because that's when I've got my fucking kids, and then a bit in April. That's when I got my kids as well. So that's 179 spots in like a 10-month year, or like a 9.5 months. You know what I mean? Because of all the times that I'm away and that, maybe like 10.5 months. I don't really know what I'm saying. Yeah, I think whatever. It doesn't matter. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. Are you looking forward to it? Not necessarily my shit, but your own shit. Yeah, man. So let's fucking play out in a little fucking track. We're gonna do this more often because I like making people. Oh shit, the bed. All right, so here we go, man. This is the fucking Alkaline podcast. The Alkaline podcast. Welcome to the Alkaline podcast. Yeah, I've been Riggs, man. It's the Alkaline podcast. Fucking tell your friends, man. I'm looking for guests too. If you want to be on, we're talking about your struggles, man. Mein Kampf. That's what we want to talk about. That's just a couple of German words. I don't know any other reference but to do with that. Anyway, have a nice week. I'm gonna give people on it with these again. So we'll see you next week, mate. All right. I don't know. I've got my first spot tonight. Back up. So we're back on the comedy scene. Maybe this will be funnier next week. All right. Anyway, we've all got OCD. See you later.